is brought to you by Luda Gear, athletic support items created by grapplers for grapplers.
Yeah. Check it out.
When you book people to come back on a show, sometimes you occasionally think to yourself, well, how long has it been since I've talked with them? Not all guests will tell you exactly how many years to the date it's been since I've talked with them. However, our guest today did. Maybe there's some reason why our guest and I haven't chatted for a bit. It could be the fact that he has been continuously crushing the marketing world. He's a very busy man outside of jiu-jitsu itself. But you may know him as the social media strategist for BJJ Fanatics online store. I know him as a gentleman who was one of the first individuals to really break out in the meme world. He is kind of a meme godfather to so many of us in this industry. And these kids, they don't know. They don't know where these memes came from, these uneducated punks. This gentleman right here really set a tone that I think many have followed in the days since. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my good friend, Todd Shaffer. How you doing, sir?
Hey, Raf. Great to be here.
Well, it's good to see
fantastic.
It's good to see you back, man, because I don't know if people really know how much you were so prevalent as to making memes and putting that out there. You were so consistent that I felt like everybody got your blueprint and goes, oh, I'm going to be famous off of this. Okay, cool.
Yeah, you're too kind, for sure.
So I have to ask, before we get into the BJJ Fanatics stuff, are you retired from the meme world? Did you take a moment and did you just say, like, listen, the game's changed, these kids, I don't know, like, I've always wondered that.
You could take the boy away from the meme, but you can't take the meme out of the boy. I still do the occasional meme. Every now and again, I like to dust off the old skills, and I feel like I still have it. But there are so many good pages out there right now. I wouldn't even want to get back into the fray.
It's just funny because the good news is the fact that you went out and you did something that other meme pages don't do from having meme pages, which is you got a job. So I felt like you were putting a lot of heavy expectations on the rest of the meme makers who are like, wait, you can do that? You can go work for somebody? Because the nice part is, it's not like you lost your sense of humor. You've just brought it to the BJJ Fanatics group, which is a great way of strengthening that brand. I think you loaned them a lot of credibility once you started there. So how did you get connected with them?
So let's see, almost 3 years ago now, I answered an ad for a blogger, and I'd been working with a number of different great organizations, Jiu-Jitsu Times, BJJ Video Vault, the team at Origin had BJJ Weekly. I was pretty much a little bit of everything, involved in a little bit of everything, and I answered an email or an ad and started emailing this guy named Michael Zenga. And right around the same time, Tom DeBlas, who I had formed a relationship with, and eventually our school became affiliated with Tom, and so on and so forth. Right around that time, Tom was also in talks to do his first DVD, Half Domination, and I think the way Tom tells the story, it's all because of him. But that's pretty much every story. But I think he definitely put in a good word for me, and from there, it's been just a fantastic relationship. I started off mainly as just one of their bloggers, and now I have a team of probably 20 bloggers. We do BJJ Fanatics, Fanatics Wrestling, and Judo Fanatics. I've also got some word that there's going to be some additional sports coming out pretty soon. It's going to be a worldwide Fanatics here pretty quick. But I do the social media stuff. I do help to organize this tournament. Just anything those guys want to do. You couldn't ask for better bosses between Bernardo Faria and Michael Zenga and Michael Reardon.
That's pretty dope, dude, because I have such an appreciation for what you do. And I know that you were busy doing other things. So it's not like you were short on things to do. So for me, when I saw that you were joining these individuals and helping them out, I think the nicest part for me is, the memes were just this other thing you did on top of your work, which has you travel a whole bunch. You're very busy. You got a family. So again, very busy. But the thing I like about BJJ Fanatics bringing you in on social media side was, I was like, you have all these other skills that we didn't even really get to even scratch the surface on. So I think it's pretty dope that you get to display some of the stuff that you do outside of this little realm over to the good folks over at BJJ Fanatics. So I'm glad we were able to make sure you were there. I think you just cut out for a second, right? Todd? I think Todd his connection is struggling to get back to the earth. So I think we're going to take a moment. If you guys are not adding us on your social media, do so following right now. Go at Grappling Hour on YouTube, on Facebook, on Dancer, all the reindeer, whatever. Todd, do we have you back?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I think we have you back. You're just on a slight delay. It's going to buffer its way back in. Meanwhile, I'm going to sing your praises a little bit more by also insulting Tom DeBlas. You know what's always fun about you and Tom DeBlas is, like, I feel like you're a Tom DeBlas interpreter, because Tom DeBlas has a certain language and cadence to him that's always punctuated by him quoting himself. And then I think that you're one of the few people who can bust his balls, and I think that's a very redeeming trait.
Yeah, I've been very lucky to. I asked Tom DeBlas to use a picture of Gary for his birthday for a meme, and from that point, I feel like I've literally talked to him in some way almost every day for the last 4 years or so. And I don't know if that's that good, honestly, but it's mostly good, but definitely changed the course of my life for sure.
Well, he's obviously been a good foil for you. You guys are almost joined at the hip at times. I do want to start asking you about the tournament, because I got to tell you, man, one of the first things that caught my eye when I was looking around was I saw that there was a post that said, "Hey, brown belts, come do this tournament." Now, the interesting thing that you guys did with this was you didn't just say, like, "Hey, any brown belts." You're like, could you kind of have a resume? Because that kind of helps us on our side. Tell us what your qualifications are. Tell us why you should be in there. And I thought, man, with the BJJ Fanatics brand, that's a strong way of telling them. I guess my first question is, I didn't quite know from the language, but I thought it would have been better, and you can marinate on this and send this on up higher. But I thought, they should really do a chocolate factory sort of thing here, where whoever wins inherits their own DVD.
That is actually part of the puzzle. So we have prize money for the winner. The winner is going to walk away with $2,500. There are also going to be multiple DVDs or relationships built for future DVDs, either that next through that weekend or perhaps at a later date. And that is going to be kind of Michael Zenga and Bernardo and the spark. If somebody lights it up, they're going to get their own chance to be in the same store with John Danaher, Craig Jones, Neil Melanson, and all these famous, legendary athletes and coaches.
When that did happen, though, that was such an interesting thing to see because I go, no other tournament can really do that. No other tournament can really be like, oh, by the way, at the end of this, we're gonna walk you right over here and get to showing us your thing because DVD's due tomorrow, kid.
Yeah, exactly. It's an amazing opportunity for these athletes to just be brown belts and film instructionals the next day potentially. We've got Roberto Jimenez on the card. He already has a product in the store, so he just won quadruple gold at his last tournament in Las Vegas. So these athletes, their talents sell their products. It's the easiest product to sell because you see the proof. You watch the Kinetic event, you watch Lachlan Giles rip through an entire team. How do you want to do that? How can you do that? Buy his DVD. Bottom line.
Yeah. I mean, I still laugh pretty profusely when Craig Jones, the only coaching he had was going up to Lachlan and being like, hey, think of the DVC sales, mate. And then just kind of like pushes him back out there. And I said, Craig's a very funny guy, but he's not wrong because I'm pretty sure he sold some more DVDs after that night of cleaning out.
Absolutely. Lachlan's one of our best sellers because he's so good at teaching, and that just brought a whole nother level.
So let me ask this: why brown belts? Because I think there's so much interest that you guys literally could have done any belt to begin with. But what about the brown belt specifically that made you guys said, that's where we want to start?
You know what? That's a really good question, and I don't want to necessarily answer for Michael Zanger or Bernardo, but I think this is our first event, and they're about showcasing the person who's learning, the person who's not quite there yet, the person that's looking to improve. And yes, there's a bunch of savages on this card, absolute killers, but these are the folks that haven't yet achieved the black belt, and that's our customer. That's the person. That's our demographic, is the person that's on the road to black belt.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, let's talk about a few of the people that you do have lined up here because let's be very frank. These are people who are dominating a number of major tournaments elsewhere. So what was the response like when you did put this out there?
I want to say we've got probably about 50 interested folks in terms of, just maybe more, 50 to 60 applications, so to speak, people with their resumes. Lots of talent. We had some folks that we were definitely looking at and talked to specifically. So we wanted a good mix. We've got Roberto, who I mentioned. We got people like Mateus Lutis. We've got a bunch of 10th Planet guys. Chase Hanna from Atlanta. Yep. Andrew Alexander from out west in Oregon. We've got a ton of Renzo Gracie guys that are just up and coming killers. I can't even say anything about Nick Rodriguez. That hasn't been said yet. The guy, technically the name of the tournament is brown belt and below, and we know that Nick is technically a blue belt, but he's quite the blue belt, as you saw at Kinetic.
I had a comment from somebody when we just shared the link or the group of people who are going to be involved in the tournament. And we, of course, had one person in the comment section that goes, "Is he a brown belt?" And I was like, "You want to tell him that?" Like, This kid
Yeah,
is
exactly.
this kid's he's something special to him. You know, it's very funny because you know it's great when he's being looked at for multiple things all at once. You know, jiu-jitsu,
Hmm.
wrestling,
Hmm.
pro wrestling, the fact that I'm sure there's people who want to get his Instagram modeling and all that sort of stuff. Like, the kid's not short on options. And when he tells me his last resort is MMA, I'm thinking, yeah, that's a pretty good set of things you got going on there, kid. That's pretty good. But I mean, you know, one of the things I have to ask, so how many people are in the tournament? Because that's the one thing. I looked at the amount of names and I said, that's more than I need to count. So how many?
Yeah, when we first announced the list of names, there was about 22, and
Mm,
I've had several more add-ons. So, and I'm not saying we might not add another one or two,
mm.
but so we're in the mid 20s, 25 roughly. Um, in that list of names, as I was talking about people, I failed to mention Cody Steele. That's how deep
Mm.
this group is. Cody Steele's in this thing, and he just won combat jiu-jitsu.
So when you are talking about this many people, and I guess, so this is an open weight invitational,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay,
Mm,
because when
yep.
I sat there and I looked and did I see Nikki Rodriguez, or I'm sorry, Nikki Ryan's name in there as well?
No, Nikki is not in there.
Okay, Nikki's not in there. Okay, but then trying to put, let's say, you know, Nick Rodriguez in the same weight category as a Nick Ronan, and I was like, that doesn't make sense to me.
Right,
So,
right,
especially when you look at those team affiliations that everybody's got, I was like, they compete at tournaments together, but never in the same category. So then I said it's an
right.
open weight. So then is there going to be like a seeded element to it that people are gonna like have the brackets that they fight their way into the main 16 or so?
Yeah, that's all being determined as we speak. So that's not finished. So I'm not exactly sure how that'll all
Perfect.
shape
Can I
up,
pitch
but
a few things then?
absolutely,
Okay, first we start with the Ninja Warrior course.
I'm taking notes.
Thank you.
Ninja Warrior,
Start with the
Ninja
Ninja
Warrior.
Warrior, venture our way into the American Gladiators Eliminator course. Because I feel like if you have Danaher with a tennis ball gun shooting them at people, and then as he's doing it, explaining the mechanics of the gun and saying, like, fascinating thing, this cannon was actually used in the 18th century by modern samurai warriors, and you're just like, I don't know what to do, listen to him or get shot. Then when you get to the final round, you have to do a sparring session with Gary Tonin because now he's all crying because he's like, when no one wants to give me a super fight. Oh no, I'm so sad. So make it a grappling round with Gary, but instead of a grappling round, switcheroo it, eating contest. Then they make it into the tournament.
Nice, nice. I really love that. I really love that. I think Gary was just on talking about his cardio recently with you guys. So that might work well. The whole eating contest.
Gary, like, you know what the weird part is? Is Gary's at a weird place where, you know, when I saw that apparently he had to pull out of ADCC, you felt bad. Because you're like, man, that's a really good tournament for him because he was doing MMA. Then the MMA thing, apparently, we don't know what's happened yet, but he says he can't disclose it yet. But it seems like he's a little bitchy about it, which means, uh-oh, that's not good. So he's trying to find his way into a grappling match, and then he, like, chimes in with Lovato and Boogie, and it was like, you know, nobody wants me. Lovato doesn't want me. And it's like, well, dude, you weren't around. We thought you were doing other shit. So things have very quickly escalated. So I'm just trying to give him some, I guess, a job. Because listen,
Right,
he
right.
doesn't have his looks. He's getting older. It's just it's gonna get rough for him. I mean, the pumpkin is happening right now. You know, the ball's about to be done. So we all know what happens now in this Cinderella story. So I'm just saying. Let's go
It's
through some
inevitable.
more names. So you got Roberto Jimenez, Mateus, Aaron Harris, who's also amazing, very low key individual, super good. Chase
Yeah.
Davis, super good kid. Kid's Ultimate Mat Warriors winner. James Banville. You've got Pedro Mourinho, Chase Hanna, who you mentioned, Quentin Frosty. Leah, did we ask them for nicknames on this?
He goes by Frosty. He's one of Travis Stevens' students. He's got some blondish hair, so I believe that's where the nickname. But I could be totally wrong.
Can we overwrite that, and can we just be like, no, we cross this out? Like, Frosty the Snowman has a nickname like that. Okay. Then, of course, Cody Steele, Jessere, who I love, another Ultimate Mat winner, Warriors winner, Pierre Oliver, who's also super amazing, Placido Santos, Sergio Villas, Ryan McCartney, Gina Carlo, Nicky Rodriguez, Peter Hoyler, Eric Koval, Nick Ronan, James Cook, Isaac Mitchell, and Andrew Alexander. Those are just the ones that we know about at present, correct?
Yes. Well, I can confirm that Roosevelt Souza, and who's affiliated with Cyborg's team, and also Kyle Beam from 10th Planet is in.
I mean, dude, this is an impressive list of individuals that I think for your first crack at bat will give you a very good tournament. Now, I have to ask this because I thought I saw this somewhere on the wording, and it could be wrong, but do you have special guest commentator Gordon Ryan who's going to be doing the proceedings?
Yes. I'm trying to get him out of his shell, so I encouraged Zenga to bring him on board. He and I are both going to be doing commentary, and I also have word that there are going to be some special guests that I don't want to mention, but if they're there, and I do say they, it's going to be pretty amazing. Have
you practiced? I mean, I know you've done commentary before, so I'm not worried about you. But have you practiced what I like to call the athlete pivot, when the athlete starts talking too much about themselves or their DVDs? I guess in your case it's not as big of a problem, but a lot of the times they're not talking about the match, so you have to pivot them. And I'm talking every athlete because they don't know what they're doing. But have you practiced the athlete pivot for Gordon?
No, I have not. I'm very, very confident. I've been lucky to be around Gordon quite a bit. We've hosted him at our school 3 times. We're bringing him back for the 4th time. Literally one of the smartest guys. Like, despite his social media presence, he's literally one of the smartest guys on the planet when it comes to jiu-jitsu. And I really look forward to hearing him call these matches.
Okay, I'm gonna put you a little under the test. Do me a favor and tell me a little bit about your favorite BJJ Fanatics DVD, and I'm gonna respond as Gordon so that we can start testing you to get ready. Okay?
So my favorite DVD,
Mm-hmm.
I would say DeBlas's Half Domination.
Well, you would say that DeBlas is basically like he's. I mean, yeah, that's great. I mean, I blast DeBlas every single day. They should call him DePast because he's in the past, comparative to me.
That was pretty good, actually.
Of course, yeah. I mean, these peasants, like, I just imagine him when he's commentating as the action's in front of him. He's just gonna be like, I remember doing this half guard as a blue belt, and I got smashed all the time. So these idiots are just gonna keep doing this. Buy my DVD, and then you'll figure out how to pass it. And then there's gonna be a whole section just dedicated to him doing like. Danaher actually invented modern full guard. Like, I don't know. I enjoy the kid a lot, but the weird part is when they come into the world of talking, and I know what their strengths and weaknesses are. So I've already put the drinking game out there to everybody. That's like, drink every time Gordon says something self-aggrandizing. Yeah? Excellent. You guys are going to be fucked up. I'm going to call double A for you immediately after this. Todd, let's do this now. I want to talk about that. I want to ask, though, is this the first? Do you plan more? Is there more in line for what you guys have for BJJ Fanatics? Is this going to be a series of tournaments? Like, what is the plan there?
I don't know. I don't know if I can say the word series, but I know that these guys, they are truly following their bliss, and wherever that takes them, they're going to do it. And they're really, really looking to take over and offer tons and tons of free content. This is going to be a free streamed event on YouTube and Facebook. It's going to be amazing.
Okay. You brushed a little bit on Kinetic, but can I put a sort of little thing to maybe pass on? I saw Michael there, and I didn't feel like interrupting him. Listen. When they put together that team at Kinetic, there would be inquiries in other sports. In baseball, there would literally be a hearing that says, too good of a team, break them up. Not since the days of the Dream Team in the Olympics did you look at a team and go, that doesn't seem fair. Did you have that feeling, or did you just go like, or did you already prepare the celebration discount before they had even competed? Did you just write it out and go like, well, this is going to happen anyway?
We didn't talk about the discount that I'm aware of, but who knows? Michael Zenga probably had that in his back pocket. I wasn't involved in the team, in the development of the team. I was just happy to be a viewer like everyone else.
This is the perfect inquiry. This is definitely how modern government works. It's like, well, there's a scandal. I had nothing to do with it.
Yeah. My hands are clean.
Look back at my email chain. I'm absolved, my friend. I'm just the guy who says this. Boop, boop, boop. They won. Congrats.
Yep. I was making a meme.
Well, I was very impressed by the professionalism of Michael, and it seems like he has a very good relationship with this team, and he seemed to be very, very, like seeing somebody like him at Kinetic, which isn't necessarily, it was the premiere of Kinetic. I know they want to make it an event, but you don't necessarily always see everybody there. Especially on its first one. So I thought it was pretty dope that he came to support the team. He was there. He was making sure to encourage them, and I saw him as a very physical presence there. And then he went to go compete over at Masters Worlds, and I think, I don't know that people know these things whenever they see BJJ Fanatics. They see the stars. They see you. It's very difficult to always know the ins and outs of that sort of thing. So I feel very good that I can pass on that word as somebody who witnessed it live. Well, let me ask this: what is coming up on the BJJ Fanatics palette? Like, what is something that you could tell us to look out for? Because I know there's a lot of people with disposable income that are literally just doing the "take my money, shut up" meme at you guys.
Yeah, definitely. We just launched our 30% off Labor Day sale today. So that sale is going to go on through the weekend, through Monday. Labor Day 2019 will get you 30% off everything. Upcoming releases, John Danaher is going to continue his Go Further Faster series with a half guard DVD that I've been told by Michael Zenga. And keep in mind, Michael Zenga is the owner of this company, along with Bernardo. But he's the biggest jiu-jitsu fan there is. And when he tells me something's going to be amazing, he's not blowing smoke whatsoever. And we expect that to be an epic seller. Tom DeBlas has a leg lock DVD that's in the works. That'll be out shortly. Man, there's just too many to say. Like Braulio Estima has some products that are on their way out. Shanji Hibaro's part of the team now. I've been really, really excited for some of these folks like Britt Mikkelsen, who is part of the BJJ Globetrotters tribe. And I hadn't been familiar with him. And I've literally watched him become a rock star through BJJ Fanatics. The guy is booked for the next 3 years worth of seminars. His products are selling very well. He brings a very Estonian delivery to his teaching that's very entertaining, and people love it. And it's along the lines of a Danaher, but in a slightly different way.
Sure. And
I'm just very lucky to be surrounded by these folks. And I think as a practitioner, man, it's a great time to start jiu-jitsu. And you've got a lot of help now.
That's a really good component. Todd, I know we booked you for today. We got to start winding down. Before we do, I wanted to say thank you so much for coming on today. I'm very much looking forward to your tournament. And, one of the things that's really hard to do is keep up with every single thing that's happening in jiu-jitsu. And, of course, we know you guys as the leader of the industry for DVDs and instructionals, and I think that's really dope, and it looks like you guys are expanding your empire as we're going along. But I gotta tell you, man, when I see that you guys are putting together a tournament opportunity for those athletes, it makes me very excited. And I hope whoever is watching this or whoever ends up winning knows that we will extend the invite to whoever ends up winning. So I'm very excited to interview whoever the individual is that's lucky enough to take home the big prize on that day. Can we take care of any shout outs for you before we get you on out of here, sir?
Just shout out to my team, Tom DeBlas, my Leverage BJJ family. Without them, I wouldn't be excited. So they keep me grounded.
Well, Todd, it's been far too long. I was so glad that we were able to make today work, man. And I'm even happier knowing the best part is it's not because it's short on things that you're up to. So I'm really happy that you're helping out BJJ Fanatics, and you've really cultivated a great thing. If you get the opportunity to see what they do in their live discussion groups, it's unlike anybody else's group in jiu-jitsu. There's a lot of interaction. You get the guys actually who make the DVDs a lot of the times talking to you, and I think fostering that real sense of community, along with the top-tier talent that you've assembled, has gone many, many degrees of impressively. So my kudos to you and my kudos to the team, and we look forward to seeing everybody competing next week, my man.
Awesome. I appreciate it, Raph. Thanks for having me on. Say hello to Kevin for me.
Under no circumstance will I say. That's a different show. I just want to say thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate you watching here at the Grappling Hour. If you haven't already done so, go look at Facebook and Grappling's Hour's YouTube and on our Instagram and even on our Twitter. Do all of those. Follow us at Grappling Hour on all of those major media outlets because we're always putting up new stuff. And since these guys have announcements, I might have an announcement. I'm not going to say what it is just yet. But if you know what we do, you may know that we are famous for doing a live stream when a major event happens. Now, I don't want to say what the major event is, because you should probably already know what it is. But maybe in a month's time, how about you book some time with me for about 16 hours of your weekend's time? I just remembered how long they go. But book out some time, because it looks like your friend Rafa Esparza will be heading up a live stream component to celebrate a certain Jiu-Jitsu Olympics. So book that out in a month's time. That is official. We are happy to announce that now. We will see you guys then. And as always, we will see you a little bit later. I think next week we'll probably be circling around and previewing the next week's UFC 242. And I believe we have a special guest already ready to terrorize Kevin on Over Under Kevin. But we'll have a new episode of Verbal Tap Up this week. That's going to do it for us here today. Thank you guys for tuning in. It's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you on the mat.